Well, after their road trip, the Raptors were practicing in OVO Athletic Centre, about to head to Boston for their next game, but we managed to catch them, of course. I'm Savannah Hamilton alongside Paulie Jones and Sherman Hamilton. You're watching Raptors Today. Now, media guys was greeted by a very large court size, with the width of a court, board in the OVO Athletic Center practice, like on the gym itself. Sherm, what did you make of it? It's called the Noah board, had a bunch of stats and analytics on it.
Well, I felt like a kid looking at a Christmas tree with lights, just mesmerized and kind of caught up in the hype of it. But it's a very intricate system. Nick Nurse is very, very fond of it. And it breaks down every element of shots, misses, why you miss, where you miss, the technique, the body mechanics of how to correct those things. There's so many elements that are broken down, and we're going to find out more about this as the season rolls on, but it's going to give the players a game plan. It's going to be able to lay out a path to be able to correct some things and also understand why things are happening. And I think that's the most important thing. If you understand why, you can now set out a plan to fix what's going on. But it's a lot of information. We're going to learn about it more as the season goes on. And if you're a player that wants to improve and you have that type of tool at your disposal, how can you not get better? You've got to take advantage of it. And the more you learn about what's happening with your body, your release, where you're generating power, where you're losing power, is the better your shot will become.
They're also playing game highlights as well.
Yep.
So how effective is that? I mean, as a former player, you got to be a little scared at the same time. It's like, it's all exposed
Think
now.
about the teaching that you can do, though, with that board. And, as Sherm talked about with all the feedback, you can stop practice and go back and look at something right there. Everybody look up at the board,
recreate that,
and away you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Nick Nurse also talked about the new coaching staff with the 905. Joining head coach Eric Corey's staff is Charles Kissy, Demetrius Nichols, Noah Lewis, Matt Gray, Arslan Jamil, and Christian Siakam. So Jonesy, I'm going to ask you, what do you make of the 905 coaching situation now?
I love it. The G League has become a real intricate and integral part of development. Nick Nurse talked about it, the fact that there's synergy going, things that they might want to experiment with the big team. He has the 905, tried them out first. If a guy comes up, he's used to the terminology, the system. And then you talk about the coaching staff itself. Really happy for all of these guys. A guy like Charles Kissy, who made it through all of the stuff in the CIS and into U Sports. And then Christian Siakam, a guy who's been around the game, as Pascal says, his whole life. Coaching, I'm sure he sits with Pascal, talks a lot with Rico Hines, is into breaking things down. So you look for the 905 to continue to be a fertile development ground for the Raptors. Look at all the guys that have come up and where they've come from. Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, even the guys that aren't here. Guys like Norm Powell, Jakob Poeltl, all these guys, DeLon Wright, they came through the 905 system, have gone on to have terrific careers. So I'm looking for more from this coaching staff and what's going on there.
Well, I think it's a full circle moment if you think about how Pascal Siakam came up through the 905 as well, and now his brother is coaching there. So, credit to that family as well. But now we're going to hear from head coach Nick Nurse.
What do you think of the new addition to the gym? I guess you guys have had this for a little while?
Yeah, it's I love it. It's great. There's so much up there we can do. As you guys probably can see, there's a lot of information flowing across those boards from the Noalytics, from the shooting stuff to last game's footage to next opponent footage to a bunch of charted things that we have up there. So there's a lot of stuff we can put up there, and we can definitely use it. It looks really cool too. Players really like it.
I was going to ask, have you gotten feedback from them? Like, do they? Is it too much for them, or are they taking stuff from it?
All the stuff has been really positive from them. They really love it. Yeah.
Every year it seems like you have a word or a slogan for the team. I know you talked about that when you were abroad this summer. Will you tell us what your mottos are for the season and maybe what that photo up on the wall means?
Well, that photo is just part of the opening preseason thing. I mean, obviously we got, a couple priorities you've heard me talk about before. This business is about winning, right? And then the rest of it is, there's some things up there, the things that we do defensively and all that kind of stuff. as well. Just some things we're trying to emphasize. But there's some new things there this year. A lot of it's still carrying over from a year ago, but we try to evolve it a little bit each season. Yeah.
You guys announced your 905 coaching staff, some returning names, and of course Siakam in the bunch. Your impressions of that group and how you expect things to play out for them?
Yeah, really good group. Really happy with that. Obviously, we've tried to keep that thing, that head coaching job, as a real growth and opportunity for within our staff, and it's turned out really well. I think for everybody that's come through there, they've gone on to really nice jobs, and we were able to take a couple of guys off our other staff and move them down there and stuff. So there's a really good. I'm really happy with that group. It feels like there's a lot of great synergy there, and we've got a couple of them that spend a lot of time with us as well. We're trying to kind of hybrid that a little bit. So I think the connection there continues to be a really strong one. Yeah.
Nick, how much contact do you have with them regarding systems and streamlining it?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, we do want them to be almost in line exactly with what we're doing. Just because I think, especially now with the two ways, and we always will use it for roster guys too, so that there's if we need to call up somebody on a quick, situation that they haven't, lost any of the terminology, mostly play set calls, those kind of things. We do use it as well as a little bit of a laboratory. They do let them veer off and try out a few things that we're interested in or talked about that we haven't quite decided to use it for us yet. So there's a little bit of that going on too. Yep.
Now we're going to hear from Pascal Siakam.
How was your day off, Pascal?
It was good. Just chill. Come back today, back at it.
The pace picks up now. You got, the exhibition games start rolling, and how do you kind of, where's your focus? Because really nothing counts for another few weeks. But how do you start approaching these exhibition games?
Just get the pace of the game. I mean, obviously we played a lot during the summer, or we played a lot here, but it's not the same as the game. So get into the pace of the game, do the things that we want to do as a team, continue to work on that, and just just get into just the rhythm of everything.
Pascal, it wasn't long ago that you were playing in the 905, it was a while ago, but now your brother is coaching there. What are your thoughts, and how'd that come about?
Yeah, I mean, he played basketball his whole life, basically. He played overseas, he knows the game. He's been around pros for since I've been a pro, even before, because he played overseas. So he knows the game. He's been around coaches every single year, with me, with Rico. He's been there the whole time. So he knows what he's doing, and I think that he definitely is going to help the 905 in terms of development, because again, he's seen my development and he was part of that. So he understands everything, and I think it'll be good for the 905. Just continue to grow for him, and then also helping the guys coming through there, because again, he knows the experience that I've been through, and he was a part of that, just emotionally and physically. So he understands what it takes, and I think that would be a great addition.
Pascal, do the two of you ever sit and kind of break down your game or talk, or how much do you do that with him in that coaching vein?
No, I mean, like I said, he's part of that team, with me in the summer. He's with me every summer, with Rico, and he gives his input on everything that's been going on, and he talks to Rico a lot, and he talks to other coaches around, that's around me. So we definitely talk about it. He has an input on everything.
Is he gonna have time to watch you now that he's got his own gig?
I mean, I don't know. He used to go to every game, so I guess maybe not now anymore, right? We about to probably go watch his game, right? So it should be cool. It should be fun. I think I'm happy for him, just getting that opportunity. I know it's been a long time coming, and that's something that he's passionate about. He's in the gym every day with me, no matter what it is, and I think that as coaches, I always say that you need those type of people, the people that want to live in the gym. The numbers are cool, but who wants to wake up every single day and be in the gym? Those are the coaches that you want.
Well, you just heard from Pascal Siakam. Now, Sherm, obviously, he spoke to us during his time with media, but what did you take away from that?
Well, Pascal understands that at this juncture in his career, he is a leader. He's one of the people on this roster that players are going to look to for leadership, for information, for guidance, and also he's going to have to do some things on the floor to help his team at a very high level consistently, as he talked about on Media Day. Having said that, I mean, it must mean a lot to have a player like Christian Koloko there, a guy who has come to this situation and comes from where Pascal came from. And when you see that, you want to help, you want to build that player up, you want to give them every opportunity, share the information, and allow them the best chance to be successful. And for Pascal, that's going to add that extra oomph to his leadership with a young man like Christian Koloko. And I think when you have that type of synergy, that kind of connection, his first basket, although in a preseason game in the NBA, was connected from Pascal. That's the kind of thing that really bonds you together as teammates and as human beings. So it's a very, very positive situation. And for Pascal, in an overarching way, his leadership has to go to another level with a young player like Christian Koloko.
Well, you mentioned him right there, so now let's take a listen to Christian Koloko.
They always say there's a big difference from, practice to scrimmage to now an exhibition game. What was your feeling? How did you feel, your comfort level, I guess, just the other night?
Oh, I felt good. I mean, I was kind of, I'm not going to say scared, but at the beginning, my first actual NBA game. So when I checked in, I was kind of, a little bit anxious. But as soon as I stepped in, I was like, oh, it's just basketball, and I started playing my game. So it was good to have my first game under the belt. Now we got a game tomorrow, we got another game on Friday. So I just got to be ready for the next couple of games.
How have you found the adjustment to the speed and the overall caliber of play, which is the biggest jump?
Oh, it's definitely, the game is definitely like a little quicker, faster. Arizona, we used to play a little bit fast, but I mean here it's kind of faster. But I get used to it. In practice we're always running, so we're always running. The coaches they want me to be running, rim to rim. So I'm just gotta get in better shape, and I think that's the only thing for me, just getting better shape.
As a rim protector and a shot blocker and a defender, is it a bigger adaptation at that end? On the defensive end, bigger adjustment at the defensive end?
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to say a bigger adjustment, but I'm just going to say people in the NBA are more athletic, they're faster and they're stronger than people in college. So, I'm just going to continue to do my job, protecting the rim, but, I mean, it's not going to be as easy as it was in college. Like I just said, they're stronger, they're better. Overall, they're better finisher. So, but me, I'm just going to continue to do my job, and I'm going to get used to it, so I'm not worried about it.
Are you encouraged, based on your experience in the summer, training camp, and the one exhibition game? Do you kind of feel like you can have an impact in the league maybe sooner than you would have hoped? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm here to play, so I'm here to play. I'm here to do whatever the coaches want me to do. So I didn't put my name in the draft to come in here and just sit on the bench. So I'm going to be ready whenever the coach want me to help the team, and I'm just going to do whatever they want me to do to help the team. I just want to win, to be honest.
Well, Jonsey, you just heard from Christian Koloko. What did you make of what he said as well?
Interesting, because he talked about coming here and putting his name in the draft, and he didn't come to sit. He wants to improve, he wants to get better, he wants to be a guy that contributes to this team. And as I said earlier, he's a guy that the Raptors are going to, in terms of the development, they're going to take it sequentially with him. They'll give him a role, he'll be on the floor specific times with specific jobs, and he will get better in that role. He will improve. His lane will expand, and they'll start giving him more responsibilities. It's interesting to watch him working out at practice. Yes, the Raptors are a long, athletic team where people shoot the three. But Koloko's also a big guy who can run and play on the inside. And it was great to see him working with Jamal McGlure on the inside, working on the stuff in the paint, finishing around the hoop, the jump hooks, the catch, the inside moves, the post move, going over the right shoulder, going over the left shoulder, really trying to round out his game and be a complete player. So we know what he does at the defensive end. And I always said, give me that kid who's a defensive player and pays attention to that. I'll work with his offense, and I'll have a complete player before you know it.
Oh, he was putting in that work today. But on the other side of the break, we're going to hear about what the American media outlets have been saying about the Toronto Raptors.
moving on to one of my favorite teams, the Toronto Raptors. Bobby Marks outlined them as a top 6 team in the East at 46 wins, saying that they have one of the best starting lineups in the league. You heard me, best starting lineups in the league. And having the best front court in the NBA with Siakam, Anunoby, and Scotty Barnes. The backcourt is a concern as well, as those starters really played heavy minutes last season. So, Ramona, will they start, when they start the season, will this be too high of a projection, too low, or is this just right?
Well, my question is that starting lineup, is this team that we see for the Raptors going to be the same team at the end of the season? As we know, when Kevin Durant requested a trade, the first team that everybody thought of that has the assets to pull off a big deal would be the Toronto Raptors. So if there's a star that moves in the middle of the year, Toronto has definitely shown an appetite for getting involved in those conversations and definitely has the pieces to get it done. That's another team, always there. Nick Nurse always has his guys in it, so I think that's just about right.
Big Perk, what did you think when Bobby Marks said that they have the best front court in the East, the Raptors?
I think Bobby was tripping, and here's why. Look, we have to realize what the Cleveland Cavaliers have over there with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I don't know if it's a better defensive tandem. And Evan Mobley, with his versatility, when I got big things for this kid, I expect big things out of him. No disrespect to Scotty Barnes. I actually picked him to win Rookie of the Year. But those two trees and monsters down there in Cleveland are a defensive problem for anybody.
Maybe we should have put like an asterisk best collective backcourt, because when you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, when you got Joel Embiid, and you got that Cleveland Cavalier front court, I feel like that competition is stacked.
Welcome back to Raptors Today. Now, the American media outlets are talking. Bobby Marks from ESPN in particular said that the Raptors have one of the top front courts this season coming into it already. Sherm, Jonsey, I want both of your lists. So I'm going to start with Sherm. I'm going to give you some time to think about it. Okay. So Sherm, what do you got?
Well, first of all, we're talking about an era of positionless basketball, and sometimes in order to have conversations or to have fodder about basketball, we still try to put positions on them. So I think overall, when you look at the Raptors, they are a positionless team at times because they go 6'8" across the line, and they'll be able to handle the ball, shoot the ball, pass the ball, and be playmakers. And I think at the end of the day, for Bobby Marks, when you look at that brand of basketball, that creates the versatility that you want in a basketball team, especially in the front court. In the past, front court players would not handle the basketball. They wouldn't be bringing the ball up. Well, now you have front court players who are acting as point guards in terms of their roles, in terms of setting up the offense and bringing the ball up and making decisions with the ball in their hands. So I agree with it. I think the Raptors have a great front court based on positions, but overall they just have a fluidity across the roster to be able to play that versatile style of basketball.
But when you think about the Eastern Conference as a whole, where do you have the Raptors?
Well, I have them number one because of that fluidity, and I think when you look at it, you talk about the ability to be interchangeable. The Raptors have that. Now, if we're going down the list, I think after that you're looking at a team like Cleveland. They have two true bigs.
Yep.
One of them can really handle the basketball, in Evan Mobley. And then after that, I'd say you have to go with Milwaukee. Just because you're going to put Giannis in the front court, whoever's beside him, it doesn't matter. And then I'd say Philadelphia with Joel Embiid, another guy who can handle the basketball and make plays in the front court. And then I'd say to round it out, my top 5 would be Boston.
Okay. You hit on a really great point there, the fact that, the Raptors are so fluid in their positions. It's like they have 5 point guards on the court, but you can also say they have 5 forwards on the court at times as well. So, Jonsey, if you're to give me your list, top 5 Eastern Conference front courts, where would you go?
Well, I would start exactly where Sherm would, but, a lot of people talk about the offense, and you look at the defensive side of the ball. Look at a guy like OG Anunoby, who guarded Joel Embiid at times. You look at a Scotty Barnes, who's able to guard 5 positions. Pascal Siakam's another one. He switches out, guards a guy on the perimeter, a smaller, more versatile ball handler. He can stay with a little guy out there. So, we talk about the offensive versatility, and defensively, they've got the ability to switch and guard all those positions as well. So to Sherm's point about the versatility and the interchangeability, it's not only on the offensive end, it's also on the defensive end. And to complete my list, I would go Toronto 1. And to Sherm's point, with Giannis in the front court, I think they could put any one of us two of the three of us in, and we could still be a decent front court. And then I would look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Isaac Okoro rounds out that front court, and he's really good. Joel Embiid's an MVP candidate, Philadelphia 4. And I look at Jason Tatum in Boston with Robert Williams III when he's healthy, and Al Horford. That's a pretty good front court itself.
That's a good point. You guys both have Boston on your list. Now, Jonsey, a lot has happened, obviously, in the Boston Celtics organization. Let's focus on Joe Mazzulla and a scouting report for him on his coaching style.
Well, you know, you talk to the veterans, or you hear what the veterans have to say. And first of all, credit to Joe Mazzulla, who's worked his way up. I mean, from the Division II ranks all the way through the college ranks, got in with the Celtics during the bubble season. There are a lot of guys that have done that. When you think about, you know, a Frank Vogel and Eric Spoelstra, these guys that have come out of the video rooms and just worked at their craft to get where they are. So congratulations to Joe Mazzulla for that. But when you talk about him, his communication style is what it's all about. He's not one of these old school guys that is yelling and berating players. It's more about communication. You know, Jason Tatum spoke glowingly about him in the finals last year, how he helped him. These are the workout guys, the development guys that form bonds with players. And that's probably what Brad Stevens was looking at. A voice, somebody that can have the player's ear, somebody that can get them to buy in. It's a case of same car, different driver. He's been, I don't know if he's a mechanic, but he has been in the garage with the car, so he should know what he's doing. So let's give the Celtics a good hard look with Joe Mazzulla in charge this year.
Well, it's interesting how, you know, you got to take advantage of these opportunities when they come, no matter how they come per se. Like, you look at the Luke Waltons, right, that made his coaching career off of this opportunity at Golden State. But when I think about Joe Mazzulla, he's coming right off the coattails of a championship round, I guess a championship appearance. They had the potential to get it, obviously came up short to Golden State, but what do you think the leash is like for him?
Well, it's going to be interesting. We're going to find out how this shakes out. Brad Stevens is going to figure out how to manage this situation. I mean, an interim coach, that tag usually isn't good, doesn't create confidence that you're going to be there the whole time. So it can create some instability when it comes to the roster, but as Jonsey said, this is a guy who's been around these guys. They understand, and when you have that connection, there's that trust factor, and it's based in understanding that you're in the gym with them trying to make them better, and that's what you need. And I think, as you said, Savage, the opportunity came. You might not be a fan of the opportunity, but there's only 30 of these jobs in the NBA, and you're getting a chance to fulfill that role. I think at the end of the day, he's got to make sure that he's clear with his messaging. He's got to be consistent. He's got to be in the gym working consistently. And I think overall for a Joe Mazzulla, he doesn't have to worry about everything that a real coach in terms of the typical NBA coach has to worry about. He's got to get the job done every single game in the moment. And that's going to be a learning curve that he's going to have to adjust to. But it's a great opportunity. He's got to help this team. And there's expectations around this situation. So he's going to have to be on point. But it's just a tough environment all around when you think about what's going on in the Boston Celtics organization.
The microscope's on them.
100%.
So we'll see what they can do against the Toronto Raptors Wednesday night, 7:30. You can watch that on TSN. From myself, Savannah Hamilton, Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton, Armando, Jake, Akil, and Evan, thank you for watching Raptors Today.